Good evening. I'm Andrew Chang.
And I'm Adrian Arsenault. Tonight, scenes of panic and terror in Kabul seize global attention.
It's very, very bad situation and people is in chaos.
The desperate fight for a flight out of Afghanistan.
Also tonight, early in a pandemic campaign, the sharp debate over mandatory vaccines.
Who wants a copy of the plan?
How the Conservatives are aiming to refocus your attention.
Employer dilemma, whether to insist workers be vaxxed.
It's a question of what are they going to do about it if somebody doesn't comply.
And it traps carbon and produces tea.
It's a medicine drink, and we bottle it.
Now, industry smells a profit in the Saskatchewan bog. This is The National. What's happened almost overnight in Afghanistan is in part a story of failed institutions, the capitulation of a poor army, the abdication of a weak government, the collapse of an international policy.
But tonight, the most powerful story of the Taliban's return to power is a human one. Fearful yet brave, etched in the faces of people desperate to leave. So this gives you some idea. It's not the usual load for this U.S. Air Force C-17 departing from Kabul. Passengers literally wall to wall across the aircraft. The reaction of air traffic controllers says it all.
Okay, how many people do you think are on your jet? 800 people on your jet? Holy cow.
So it turns out that number was only about 640. It is only meant to hold 150. Everything happening too fast to count. The crew decided to depart rather than force anyone off. Frantic scenes like these are playing out again and again. Thomas Daigle begins our coverage with the lengths to which some Afghans are going to get out before it's too late.
Desperate to flee Taliban rule, Afghans are resorting to this, grasping at U.S. military aircraft and risking their lives. Some hung onto the wheels and fell to their death. Those left behind could only watch in horror. The chaos at Kabul's airport a sign of the distress over what's ahead. With Afghanistan's land borders under Taliban control, thousands crowded onto the tarmac. No visible security or any semblance of order. We're here because we're jobless, this man says. We left our homes. We have no food. They scaled the walls around the airport and jumped over barbed wire. Satellite images showed the size of the crowd outside just waiting and the traffic gridlock. So many rushed to the airport to find only disappointment and frustration.
It's very, very bad situation and people is in chaos.
Western nations, including Canada, scrambled to organize evacuations as British citizens and embassy staff were among the lucky few getting out. U.S. forces used helicopters to clear the runway, with Afghans recording what they saw.
See, the helicopter is flying very down on the ground, trying to scatter people. To scare and scatter people.
The Americans temporarily shut down all flights in an effort to regain control. They struggled, though, with 6,000 American troops being sent to the airport. They opened fire and killed some they considered threats.
A general should have understood what it meant to leave an evacuation point in the heart of the largest city in Afghanistan. This wasn't a decision, this was a mistake.
Just outside the airport, here's what the people are fleeing. Taliban militants back in control and showing it with firepower. Most Afghans can't leave, facing an uncertain future their country now can't escape. Thomas Daigle, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, despite the dire security situation, Justin Trudeau says Canada is committed to resettling thousands of Afghans as quickly as possible.
We have Canadian Armed Forces assets deployed in the region, staging out of Kuwait, including aircraft.
Trudeau also gave a breakdown of Canada's evacuation efforts so far. 34 Canadian diplomats and armed forces personnel, 2 international diplomats, 5 NATO personnel. He says the evacuees also include more than 800 Afghan civilians, about 500 of whom have already arrived in Canada.
Now, Canada's Minister of Foreign Affairs says the government is doing the best it can under difficult circumstances to get Afghans who are in danger out of the country. Earlier on Power and Politics, Katie Simpson asked Minister Marc Garneau whether the government was caught off guard.
I get that this is a worst-case scenario right now, but was Canada not prepared for the worst?
I believe that we reacted properly and according to all of the intelligence that we had, and with the intention of getting as many people out as possible who had worked for Canada.
Now, with the reality of Taliban rule sinking in, the repercussions are global. Today, U.S. President Joe Biden was again defending his decision to withdraw U.S. troops. But as Carolyn Dunn explains, among Afghans, there is growing fear about what might come from a regime they know all too well.
Victorious, Taliban insurgents are moving around the capital with ease today, posing for photos, armed with U.S. weapons. A Taliban commander saying there's nothing to worry about. But the Taliban has a history of brutality against its own citizens, and there are signs history is repeating itself.
We are receiving chilling reports of severe restrictions on human rights throughout the country.
I have never felt it to this extent, helpless, hopeless, disappointed, poor and miserable in my life. All our 20 years achievement maybe just go away in blinks of few days.
So quick because a feckless Afghan leadership did little to stop the Taliban campaign. By the time it reached the presidential palace in Kabul, it was empty. Al Jazeera broadcast live the insurgents strolling through its opulent hallways. Criticism is mounting against the United States for pulling out troops, while a security and humanitarian crisis is playing out in real time.
Why has this been such a colossal failure?
America's longest war is ending in crushing defeat.
Do you regret giving the Taliban that legitimacy?
U.S. President Joe Biden returned to the White House today to address the nation.
There was never a good time to withdraw U.S. forces.
He remains unapologetic, insisting more time on the ground wouldn't have changed a thing.
American troops cannot and should not be fighting in a war and dying in a war that Afghan forces are not willing to fight for themselves.
But as seems to happen in Afghanistan, the clock has been turned back decades. Once again, the people are in need of aid and protection from a brutal regime, and the world needs to ensure Afghanistan doesn't become a global exporter of terror. Carolyn Dunn, CBC News, Washington.
Now let's turn back to this country and the race to lead it on day 2 of the federal election campaign. The Bloc Québécois leader stuck close to home, but the leaders of the other 4 parties with MPs were in Ontario today with promises of big action and big money for pandemic-wearied Canadians. We've got those details coming up, and later a close look at why some campaigned where they did today. But first, how are leaders handling one of the pandemic issues, mandatory vaccines? As Evan Dyer shows us today, there was a lot to say about it.
Keep people safe. That's really important. And then,
if there were any doubt in Jagmeet Singh's mind that vaccine mandates are a controversial topic, hecklers dispelled it today.
we can set some leadership. We can ensure that all federally regulated workers and federal workers directly are vaccinated by that date, by Labor Day.
That puts Singh on the same side as the Liberals, who say one of the reasons for this election is to let voters decide that very issue.
It's important that Canadians have an opportunity to have their say, to weigh in on our plan to go forward. And we intend to ensure that the public service gets vaccinated, that anyone on a plane or a train be fully vaccinated.
Erin O'Toole's Conservatives say forcing people to accept vaccines to keep their jobs is a step too far.
We do feel that Canadians have the right to make their own health care decisions, and we encourage people to get vaccinated, but we also have to make sure we have the tools to protect all Canadians from some people that will not be vaccinated.
The devil is always in the details, and we know that this announcement was just thrown out there with a deadline for after the elections.
The Greens are also reluctant to embrace mandates.
We know that there are those who are not able to get vaccinated for legitimate reasons. We know that there are those who are hesitant to get vaccinated.
The divisions over vaccine mandates mirror those in other countries.
These are often drawn on political positions or political lines, and so Conservatives are typically more concerned with individual rights or proffer that they are, and are concerned with things like privacy more than they would say the Liberals are.
This issue allows parties to highlight differences in their values, but it might not make a policy difference in reality. The government's chief human resources officer says public servants who refuse to be vaccinated must be given other options. So the vaccine mandate may not really be mandatory after all. Evan Dyer, CBC News, Gatineau.
Today, Conservative leader Aaron O'Toole unveiled his party's election platform, a document thick with promises of new spending, rebates, and tax breaks, but thin for the time being on what they will cost. Hannah Thibodeau takes us through their platform.
The outside looks like a glossy magazine cover.
I am proud to unveil our detailed plan, Canada's recovery plan.
Aaron O'Toole hopes the outside will entice voters to read the details inside.
Who wants a copy of the plan?
It's ambitious, 160 pages with big spending to help the hardest hit sectors rebuild post-pandemic, including help for restaurants like this one. The Conservatives promise to pay up to 50% of a new employee's salary for 6 months, once the current wage subsidy program is phased out.
We'll take any help we can get. That's for sure. This is quite a challenge for the industry, and all of us are muddling through.
There's a 50% rebate on food and non-alcoholic drinks when people dine in. It would be for just a month, but the party says it would pump $1 billion into the sector.
Well, I think it's very creative, and give him credit for that. As I say, we'll take any support, and that sounds like it'd be a good support for us.
Help for retail comes as a GST holiday. No federal sales tax on purchases for 1 month. For the tourism sector, a tax credit for Canadians traveling domestically next year. And for those who care for parents over 70, $200 per month to help. But in one of their bolder moves, a plan to scrap the Liberal childcare deals already signed with many provinces. Instead, a tax credit for childcare expenses between $4,500 and $6,000.
We have to have more flexibility, more options, and more immediate help for all families. That's what our plan does.
O'Toole says the platform has already grabbed some attention.
My wife loves the picture.
Okay, so Hannah, lots of detail in this platform, but how much do we know about how much it would all cost?
Yeah, so one big ticket item is an increase in health transfers to the provinces, some $60 billion over 10 years. But the total price tag for everything, well, the parliamentary budget officer is looking at that right now and expect those details within 2 weeks.
Okay, Hannah Thibodeau in Ottawa tonight. Thank you.
Okay, welcome.
So, Rosie, walk us through this. What is the Conservative thinking behind releasing the platform on day 2?
Adrian, it's unusual, but it is not unprecedented. The Conservatives are trying different things during this campaign. In this case, releasing the platform early, let Canadians take a look at it, get people talking about it, for example, that cover. They've also been demanding the Liberals have a plan for a post-COVID Canada, so it kind of makes sense for them to put their own plan out early. They're also now on their second day of campaigning from a hotel here in Ottawa. Aaron O'Toole will travel, but the party sees advantages to being able to get thousands of people watching an event online or hundreds of them on the phone.
Okay, so the platform, it seems, does allow for some contrast to be made, I suppose, particularly on childcare.
Yeah, and we raised childcare because we know that women were disproportionately affected by the pandemic, pushed out of the workforce. The Conservatives today said that they would cancel the childcare deals that the Liberals made with 8 provinces and territories just before this election started. Those deals would create daycare spaces in provinces and cut fees down eventually to $10 a day. The Conservative proposal, very different, as you heard from Hannah there. They believe a tax credit is more equitable, but a tax credit doesn't address the issue of creating daycare spaces across the country or even increasing salaries for daycare workers. So the pandemic has made childcare a real top of mind issue for many Canadians, Adrian. So this could become a really big thing for voters. And here now we have a couple of pretty different choices.
All right, Rosie, thank you for this.
Thanks.
Well, 2.5 days have passed since an earthquake hit Haiti, so the search for survivors has become more desperate. Nearly 1,300 people are confirmed dead, and as Stephen D'Souza tells us, an incoming storm is making a bad situation even worse.
The painstaking effort to sort through the aftermath of Saturday's earthquake took on new urgency today. Tropical Depression Grace could bring about 40 centimeters of rain that could trigger flash flooding and mudslides. Yet another blow to those who lost their homes and sought the open air as a refuge from aftershocks. We need 30,000 tents in the area, this man says. We were not prepared to face this problem. In Laquais, the hospital is overwhelmed. Already devastated by COVID, staff moved babies out of the neonatal ward for fear the building could collapse. They've already run out of basic supplies. But getting aid to the hardest hit region in the southwest, about 180 kilometers away from the capital, Port-au-Prince, has been difficult. The area is controlled by gangs who are limiting access.
As crazy as it may sound, we only have access through helicopters. So I'd say right now that's probably the biggest challenge.
The 7.2 magnitude quake is just the latest tragedy to hit the country. Haiti is still recovering from an earthquake in 2010 that killed more than 250,000 people. It's also still reeling from the assassination of its president last month. In Montreal, Haitians are calling on the federal government to speed up immigration claims from the country.
I would expect for Canada to show the real friends of Haitians, real friends of Haiti, and to try to bring those families as quickly as possible.
Today, Haiti's president promised to speed up efforts to help the victims, but aid groups are not optimistic.
Very difficult to see, light at the end of that tunnel, honestly, because they have to negotiate with gangs.
Some help has made it through. Some patients have been airlifted to safety, but the rest are left to wait and hope that help will come. Stephen D'Souza, CBC News, Toronto.
In Greece, the wildfire situation is only getting worse. 2 new large fires near Athens are threatening nearby communities. Residents of at least 2 villages have already fled. The country has been fighting hundreds of wildfires over the past few weeks. Thousands of people have lost their homes, along with farms and livestock. Now, Canadians certainly can relate to the panic and loss of wildfires. Much of the BC interior is blanketed in smoke, and thousands are under evacuation alert. Katie Nicholson is in West Kelowna with the latest.
Pretty thick black smoke.
From his front lawn, Craig Moffat watched fires spill over the hill.
You could see the flames when we were driving down the road. It came over the crest of the hill, so it was kind of scary, first time seeing a fire that close to your house.
Moffat and his family among the hundreds who fled Sunday night as a new fire sparked up in West Kelowna. This morning, he's home again, watching a full-on aerial assault on a fire the chief says moved like a snake.
It was at times explosive. The wind drove it quickly in many directions.
And hardly the only fire on a night best described as apocalyptic. Dense smoke choked out the light, creating blood-red skies in Armstrong. Darkness fell at 4 p.m., a slew of evacuation alerts and orders from Kamloops to the Okanagan Indian Band territory not long after. Jeff Freed had to round up his cattle to get them to safety in the pitch black.
Usually we're not trying to load them in the dark, so they're a little freaked out about that.
While between Merritt and Hope, BC, 2 fires merged.
Holy shit! No.
shutting down a major highway and escape route for evacuees. Strong gusting winds and unrelenting smoke kept aerial crews away from the northeast of the White Rock Lake fire for days. Today, news some 60 structures on this side of the Okanagan Lake destroyed, hitting evacuees hard.
Just too much for us to lose, and that's the position we're in right now. I'm hoping that we'll be all right, but I think we'll be safe.
Katie, it's so striking to see those pictures, and we have seen worsening conditions for fire crews for days now. What's your sense of what's ahead for them?
Well, there is a little relief. In fact, it's been raining this afternoon in Vernon, sort of at that northeast edge of the White Rock Lake fire, and there is rain in the forecast here in Kelowna. However, there's also a little bit of lightning in that forecast, which can, also spark up other fires. What is really needed here, what people are really hoping for, is sustained heavy rainfall. That's really what's going to be a game changer for all the fires throughout this region.
All right, let's hope they get it. Katie, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, the chief of the Sabaganagati First Nation was arrested by federal fisheries officers today as the band's new treaty fishery launched its season in southwest Nova Scotia. Chief Mike Sack says officers took him in for promoting an illegal fishery. The band's lobster traps were also removed by officers shortly after they were placed. Sack was released later with no charges laid. The Department of Fisheries and Oceans has not provided details on the arrest, but it has previously said that the band's fishery is unauthorized.
Several Canadian companies are looking at making vaccines the ticket back to the office.
We're not vaccine evangelists here. We're just a business, a medium-sized business that is trying to do the right thing.
Up next, how businesses are navigating vaccine mandates and the big question, are they legal?
Plus, breaking down the battlegrounds of election number 44.
It might very well be the bloc that gets to be in the way of the Liberals' majority.
Where the parties are hoping to make gains and at whose cost.
And later, making the best out of a crummy situation.
Even before I opened, there was people waiting at the door at 9 a.m. to buy toasters. And I'm like, what?
We're back in 2.
Welcome back. All healthcare workers in New York State will be required to have at least one dose of a COVID-19 vaccine by the end of next month. The new mandate kicks in September 27th, with exceptions made only on medical or religious grounds. New York City was the first major U.S. city to launch a vaccine passport system, requiring all employees and customers at several indoor venues to provide proof. In New Brunswick, government workers are being asked to reveal their vaccine status. In an email obtained by CBC News, the province asks employees to anonymously indicate their level of vaccination, so whether they've had 1, 2, or no doses of a COVID-19 vaccine. The province says it's hoping to know vaccination rates among employees in the interest of workplace safety and wellness.
Now, some businesses in Canada are requiring vaccinations for workers who want to return to the office. Others want to be covered under the federal government's new vaccine mandate. But as Jacqueline Hansen shows us, some employment lawyers say it is not so simple.
At this accounting firm, the golden ticket for employees who want to return to the office will be proof they're vaccinated.
We're not vaccine evangelists here. We're just a business, a medium-sized business that is trying to do the right thing.
In the U.S., some major private sector companies have already implemented vaccine requirements and are considering it in Canada. Twitter tells us workers in its Toronto office will have to be fully vaccinated, but they can choose to stay home. The same goes at the accounting firm. Employees can continue to work remotely indefinitely and don't have to say why.
No one has approached us and said, look, I can't get the vaccine, or I would prefer not to get the vaccine, but I really want to be in the office. If they do approach us, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yes, an employer could technically mandate employees to get vaccines.
However, employers and their lawyers have to balance safety with human rights, like accommodations for workers who aren't able to get vaccinated for medical or religious reasons. Plus, this lawyer says
the requirement for the vaccine would have to be connected to a real substantial either threat of an outbreak within the workplace or the need to protect vulnerable people within the workplace.
Others don't recommend going the vaccine requirement route because it could create other challenges.
It's a question of what are they going to do about it if somebody doesn't comply. Hopefully there are sort of softer, gentler measures that will achieve the same objectives.
Some companies like Good Life Fitness want government help to make implementing a system easier before they require staff to be vaccinated.
We're looking for that clear direction. We want to have a mechanism that will make it very easy for people to show proof of vaccination, and we want legislative protection from legal action.
For now, the pressure is on businesses to figure out how to proceed on their own. Jacqueline Hansen, CBC News, Toronto.
When we come back, what you need to know about where the election can be won and lost.
A lot of the action is in Ontario and not much in Quebec.
Understanding the strategies behind where party leaders choose to campaign.
Plus, the fight to save the muskeg in northern Saskatchewan. One community's message to those looking to harvest their peat moss.
He would make sure that companies that abuse the system, that abuse the wage subsidy or other programs, are paying back their fair share.
Well, that is NDP leader Jagmeet Singh on the campaign trail today in Toronto, speaking over the shouts of hecklers. Singh is pursuing his party's promise to make the ultra-rich pay their fair share. He says an NDP government would crack down on any large companies that misuse the pandemic wage subsidy. And as Green Party leader Annamie Paul was campaigning today, CBC News has learned the party moved to postpone its national convention scheduled to begin on Friday. Sources say it would have distracted from efforts to ramp up its federal campaign. Now, Liberal leader Justin Trudeau was on the offensive in ridings in Ontario and Quebec today. David Cochrane shows us where and exactly why.
Hey, everyone! Justin Trudeau ended his day in Ontario, campaigning in ridings his party won in 2015, but lost to the Conservatives by narrow margins in 2019. But Trudeau started his day in Quebec in a riding held by the Bloc Québécois, where he promised an extension of the hiring subsidy, enhanced wage and rent supports for the tourism sector, and financial relief for cultural venues that host live performances but can't sell tickets because of COVID.
From day one, we focused on having your back.
These programs apply nationally, but they target politically important sectors of the Quebec economy, in ridings where the Liberals and the Bloc Québécois are in tight two-way races. Those Quebec seats and these tight Ontario ridings are important targets if Trudeau is going to secure the majority he's seeking. David Cochrane, CBC News, Greater Napanee, Ontario.
Now, it was no accident that David's report featured certain ridings in Quebec and Ontario. They are a couple of the regions that always seem to help tell the election's result. David Common has a look at which ones seem up for grabs this time around.
As the election fight gears up, most of this country is not actually in play. It rarely is, and like it or not, we'll probably see parties focus again on central Canada to decide who will form government.
A lot of the action is in Ontario and not much in Quebec.
Specifically, the populous 905 belt around Toronto, where Conservatives and Liberals are both in contention, says Veteran Maclean's columnist Paul Wells.
Seats that the Liberals won big in 2015 and 2019, they're likely to hold. And seats that the Conservatives have been winning big, their advantage has shrunk. Places like Sarnia, Durham, places that they held in 2019 under Andrew Scheer, now the support's a little soft. And so the Liberals have a shot.
But if there's a spoiler on the horizon, it may well be in Justin Trudeau's home province. Not between the two leading national parties. There are actually no races in Quebec where Liberals and Conservatives are close. But
it might very well be the Bloc that gets to be in the way of the Liberals' majority.
For the Liberals to shed their minority status, they need to snap seats from the Separatist Party. Not so easy, says Le Devoir columnist Emily Nicolas, but not impossible either.
We're talking about the further suburbs, the greater Montreal region, up to Trois-Rivières, so the center of the Quebec province on both sides, and a little bit in the Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean as well. So especially if we're talking about trying to basically open up the circle of Liberal ridings in the greater Montreal area, that's something that the Liberals could try to do.
Around Quebec City, it's Bloc Blue against Blue Conservative.
And that region has been voting Conservative because there are conservative values there.
Last election, every seat in Alberta and Saskatchewan went Conservative. But this time, with Alberta Premier Kennedy's popularity way down, a similar outcome is far from guaranteed.
I mean, it's early to say that Alberta looks like a three-way race. But Alberta does not look anymore like a province where the Conservatives are just stomping anything that comes at them. The Conservatives will probably need to put some work into holding Alberta and Saskatchewan.
Watch the cities, Calgary, Edmonton, Regina, and Saskatoon. Breakthroughs there may be possible. Pre-campaign, the NDP had seen rising polls, but it's not clear yet if the party can translate that into more seats. If they did,
then the NDP would start to have hope in places where they haven't had a lot recently. In largely rural Saskatchewan, in the Atlantic provinces. Certainly, across the suburbs and southern Ontario, and in the BC Lower Mainland.
Of course, campaigns can change everything, so nothing is a done deal just yet. Where things get interesting is when unexpected ridings are suddenly in play. David Coleman, CBC News, Ottawa.
Now, this election is ultimately about you, right? So CBC News is asking Canadians what it means to them. Here's one of our voter vignettes.
My name is Dodie Ferguson. I'm from Cowes First Nation, which is in Treaty 4 territory. And I also live in Regina. I am a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother. The biggest thing for me in this upcoming federal election is how this federal government will attend to the calls to action and the calls to justice in the Truth and Reconciliation and the Royal Report for the Murdered and Missing Indigenous Women and Girls and Two-Spirited People. There is a long road ahead for Canada, and I think that there is a lot of truth that needs to be discussed, unpacked, that we need to heal from as a country and as people before we can even talk about how can we reconcile, or as I say as an Indigenous woman, how can my children reclaim who they are? Because broken promises are a legacy for Indigenous people, and I think going forward, generations are going to demand more, and I look forward to that myself.
Well, after the break, we will take you to northern Saskatchewan, where a community is fighting to protect its wetland.
If people dig it all up, what do we have? A war zone?
Inside the muskeg, and the threat peat moss mining could mean for this ecosystem.
And later, why Canadian students are showing a renewed interest in the country's history. Welcome back. People who live near an ancient wetland in northern Saskatchewan are upset about a proposal to harvest it at an industrial level. A Quebec company is eyeing several parcels of Crown land. Kendall Latimer shows us how local residents are teaming up to battle the plan.
Wetlands, like muskeg, have often been overlooked as wastelands. But many Saskatchewan Northerners know that the muskeg is actually bursting with life.
And this is really good for your hair, this plant. And if you go to a new place and you have allergy reaction to the place, you wash your skin with this. And these are such small ones, eh?
Knowledge keeper Eleanor Hegland says she doesn't need a pharmacy, that there's plenty of medicine out on the land.
Now what is this plant here, girl?
The muskeg is intertwined with local indigenous culture. It is used by gatherers, trappers, and hunters. It is rich with mushrooms, berries, and of course, the plant commonly known as Labrador tea.
It's a medicine drink. And we bottle it, old ladies make their tea, and they send their kids to the muskeg, go find some good tea.
But these medicines and the muskeg that houses them are under threat.
At Lambert Peat Moss, we believe in what we do.
Lambert Peat Moss, a Quebec company, is proposing an 80-year harvesting plan. It wants to lease 4 sections of the muskeg land around L'Orange, just over 2,500 hectares of land.
Because, hey, when I say it starts here...
The company would clear the land, harvest the peat, and then sell it for use in potting and garden soil.
If people dig it all up, what do we have? A war zone? You know, nothing. You killed it. If they do the peat moss, what will we have left? There will be no medicine for our grandkids.
The acidic peat bogs are a special kind of ecosystem. They take centuries to form, made up of layers and layers of decaying matter. They're sometimes several meters deep. The spongy bogs store water, and on the surface, they host passing animals, like woodland caribou, and they're also home to rare plants. Muskegs are also one of the world's best carbon capture systems, storing more carbon per area than forests. But disruptions like peat harvesting eliminate that natural carbon sink. And harvesting also means that those large amounts of carbon are going to be released into the atmosphere.
And we can't afford that in our time and age. And I'm always like, we're in the climate crisis and people don't treat it as a crisis.
Miriam Coroner is one of many community members trying to share what's at stake if the proposal goes ahead. She fell in love with the land 2 decades ago and never left. Coroner is now helping lead the fight against muskeg mining.
The ultimate goal is, like the short-term goal is to stop Lambert peat mining from coming in here and harvesting peat. But I think the long-term goal would be to ban peat mining, period, in Saskatchewan.
Many of the people using the land that's targeted by Lambert in this proposal are members of the Lac La Ronge Indian Band, one of the largest First Nations in Canada, representing about 11,000 people.
If we don't have our land, we don't have anything.
The band has expressed fierce opposition to the project.
When industry comes in like this and government wants to permit this type of activity, it does trigger duty to consult, and we have, denounced it through that process.
Because once we kill it, everything else, we're going to die too, and there's going to be...
One band member, who is also a teacher, says she was shocked when she learned what could happen to the land.
I start to look at videos and stuff of what it looks like when they harvest the peat moss or mine it, and like all of this would be taken away and cleared and then drained, and then they vacuum it up with these big machines. And
she shared what she was learning about peat harvesting and the wonders of the muskeg with her grade 7 students, like how the wet bogs are a natural fire break, critical for a community like theirs, often threatened by fire, including this summer. They decided to act.
we thought, well, let's do a petition. And then we thought maybe we'd get like 1,000 signatures and we got like over 20,000. So.
This peat harvesting proposal has not yet received the green light to go ahead. The Provincial Ministry of Environment will review the company's environmental impact statement and public feedback, but those fighting for the muskeg say the process should be stopped now.
Try to keep our land for our future generations, and if the young ones are saying that they don't want this, I don't know why we're not listening to their voices.
Lambert did not respond to our request for comment, but the company has previously promised that it would restore the land. Lambert says the bog won't regain the thickness and depth we see today for hundreds of years. And for people who rely on the land for its offerings and its teachings, that thought is daunting. That's why people like Eleanor Hegland say she won't let the land go without a fight.
You're destroying our culture by taking the muskeg away. You're really destroying who we are. It's not just the muskeg, you're destroying a culture. And this is used for medicine too.
And she knows her allies, her fellow muskeg warriors, are walking beside her. Kendall Latimer, CBC News, near La Ronge, Saskatchewan.
Well, up next, introducing a new generation of historians.
A lot of us are seeing these social changes and seeing these issues in our society, and we're wondering like where it came from.
Why a growing number of young Canadians are opting in to history. We'll be right back.
I'm Alameen Abdul Mahmoud. Tomorrow on CBC's daily news podcast Frontburner, as civilians try to flee a Taliban-held Afghanistan, a Canadian veteran reflects on our country's historic role there and what needs to happen next. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back. Activism has not only raised awareness of Black and Indigenous rights, it's also increased student interest in post-secondary history courses. Our education reporter Deanna Sumanak-Johnson looks at what they expect to learn.
Fiona McCrow always had an interest in history, but recent movements for social justice have added purpose to her study.
I think a lot of us are seeing these social changes and seeing these issues in our society, and we're wondering like where it came from, and there's no answers to it other than looking to the past.
Who keeps us safe? We keep us safe.
The past few years have seen young Canadians march for Black lives, talk about the horrors of residential schooling, even challenge who deserves to be put on a pedestal. After years of declining interest, some history departments, like at the University of Victoria, are seeing more students take history courses.
They bring, if you like, a bit of a skepticism to the received kind of history that maybe they learned in high school. And they're anxious to kind of get behind those stories and understand really the foundations of this country, which was built on colonialism and displacement of Indigenous people.
At the University of Alberta, an online course offering an Indigenous perspective on Canadian history has had huge enrollment.
And when we go back to what you were talking about, Dan, with this notion of...
It was helped by celebrity endorsement from Dan Levy and spurred by the discovery of unmarked burial sites at former residential schools.
Settler Canadians look at like what is available for us to learn, right? It's never taught in schools. That's something that we often hear over and over again. We didn't know this. We never knew this.
A history podcast about the country you know and the stories you don't.
And for those who don't want a course but want to mine unexplored corners of Canada's history, there's a podcast, 4 years running, created by two non-historians.
My high school Indigenous history class, we watched movies and colored maps. Like it was really, I didn't learn anything. It was fun. But I didn't learn anything, and I do think people really want to learn.
I think sometimes history is a reflection of the people who study it and who write it.
For Fiona McCrow, her passion for history has become a career choice, one of young Canadians who want to shape the future by shaping how we talk about the past. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
Next, in case you're in need of a toaster. This Nova Scotia business accidentally ordered just a few too many. How a community got to work buying toasters is next in our moment.
So I feel a responsibility to stand up for humanity.
If you love to hear the story behind the story of the people and places that are off the beaten path, you'll hear them here. It's an ongoing conversation about who we are and where we're going. It's Love at First Listen with CBC Listen.
This is Betty Swaffer, and she orders inventory for a Nova Scotia pharmacy months in advance. So in April, she ordered 2 toasters, as you do. It's all she needed, just 2. But when her order arrived this week, she was shocked by what she saw. So instead of those 2 toasters, Betty had accidentally ordered 222 toasters. The fate of far too many appliances is tonight's moment.
When I had ordered 2 toasters, when my 2 toasters showed up, it was 222 toasters. It was a bit of a shock. And I called our supplier and they said they couldn't take them back. Trying to think, what could I do to sell the 222 toasters? Put it on their Facebook that I had cheap toasters. Even before I opened, there was people waiting at the door at 9 a.m. to buy toasters. And I'm like, what? And they just, like a train all day long, coming and going for toasters. People were coming in and saying, I don't need a toaster, but I saw your post, and they'd buy a toaster and tell me to give it to somebody in the neighborhood who probably would need one.
We realized, that it was Betty that this had happened to. I think everyone just was like, let's just pitch in, we'll all help. And I said, let's pick up some and we can, give them to somebody who can use them.
The community is amazing. I didn't think they would be this amazing, but I'm flabbergasted. Thought I'd have a lot of toasters for a long time.
So the first time I heard this story, I thought, you have people showing up, from the Facebook post, maybe it's like a toaster here or there, a dozen, maybe if someone's feeling generous. She sold out in 7 hours.
Right.
This is a community that's just like a tornado.
This is the power of a great community. And not only do people work hard to get those toasters out of the way, they worked hard to make her feel better. All sorts of people kept coming up saying, oh, you wouldn't believe what I ordered, including the store meant to order 1,000 tennis balls, got 10,000. That is a national for August the 16th. Good night.
Good night.